Before we begin, before any idea is introduced, before any word is offered, I want you to do something. Find your pulse, maybe from your neck. Take your two middle fingers and press very gently here. Or place your fingers lightly on your wrists, like this. Or even place your hands on your chest, wherever you feel it is comfortable. Now keep your hand on your pulse as I speak. Now feel the heartbeat. Do not think about it. Do not count it. Do not analyze it or analyze what it means. Just feel it. That rhythm, that insistence, that quiet, relentless pulse of aliveness happening inside you right now, without your instruction, without your permission, without your involvement of any kind. You did not start it. You cannot stop it by an act of will. It was happening before you woke this morning. It was happening in the deepest dreamless sleep when everything you call yourself had temporarily dissolved. It is happening right now. Your heart beats, your lungs breathe, cells divide, hair grows. You are not consciously doing any of this. And yet, something is alive. Something is continuously unfolding. Something is here before thought names it, before emotion colors it, before any experience has arrived to fill it. That mysterious aliveness, that quiet sense that existence is simply present. This is what the ancient teachers spent centuries trying to find words for. They called it Spanda. And here is the first thing worth saying very clearly, because it is the most common misunderstanding. Spanda does not mean vibration. It does not mean energy or frequency or anything you might feel as tingling, heat, or spiritual sensation. Those are experiences. Spanda is the aliveness in which every experience appears. Think of electricity. A light bulb glows, a heater warms a room, a computer thinks. The expressions are completely different, but the electricity itself, that invisible presence moving through all of them, is the same. Spanda is not the glowing bulb. It is the living presence expressing itself as everything. Or think of the ocean. Most people hear the word Spanda and immediately imagine waves, movement, turbulence, energy cresting and breaking. But Spanda is not the waves. It is the living nature of the water itself, the oceanness that can become waves or become perfectly still and remain unchanged by either. Whether the ocean is calm or stormy, its fundamental nature does not change. Spanda is that living isness, the capacity for movement, not movement itself. Now, here is what is perhaps the simplest way to feel what this is pointing at. Imagine sitting in complete silence. Nothing is happening. No thoughts, no emotions, no particular sensation demanding attention. And yet you are undeniably alive. There is a quiet sense that existence is simply present, that subtle aliveness, before thought, before emotion, before any perception has formed, is what Spanda points towards. This is why the teachers called it a pulse, not because there is a literal pulse that you can locate, but because reality is never static. Every experience appears, exists, dissolves. Thoughts, silence, sound, emotion, everything continuously emerging from stillness and returning to stillness, like breathing in, out, without effort, without instruction. The pulse is that continuous appearing and dissolving. And Spanda is the living presence in which all of it is happening. Let me tell you about a musician. She had been playing the same instrument for 30 years. And one evening, in the middle of a performance, something unusual happened. She had played this particular piece hundreds of times, every note memorized, every transition smooth. And on this evening, for reasons she could never explain, the familiar boundary between herself and the music quietly dissolved. She was no longer playing the music. The music was playing itself through her. Her hands moved. The notes arrived. The piece unfolded exactly as it always had. And yet something was completely different. There was no effort, no gap between intention and movement. No her on one side and the music on the other. Just one seamless pulse of aliveness, moving through fingers, through strings, through the silence of the room, and into the awareness of everyone listening and sitting there. Afterwards, she was very still. She said later that she had not felt more herself in that moment. She had felt less of the constructed self, and something else was moving through her that felt more fundamental than anything she had previously called herself. This is Spanda. And here is what most presentations of this teaching miss. Spanda is not only in movement, Spanda is equally present in the deepest stillness, in the gap between breaths, in the silence between thoughts, in the transition between being awake and sleep, in the moment after a piece of music ends and before the mind has named what it felt. Spanda is what stillness is made of. Most people spend their lives chasing experiences that make them feel most alive and fleeing the ones that make them feel less so. The excitement and the flatness, the love and the loss, the peak and the valley, always in movement between both of them. Always believing that aliveness itself is located somewhere on that spectrum. Spanda points somewhere else entirely. Aliveness is not on the spectrum. Aliveness is what the spectrum is appearing within. There is a story about a young monk who went to his teacher in great distress. He said, I feel it sometimes in meditation, in certain moments of silence, something alive and vast and completely beyond anything that I can name. And then it goes, and I am left in the ordinary world again, flat, contracted, cut off from whatever I was briefly touching. How do I make it stay? The teacher looked at him for a long time, a long moment, and then said, "It never left. You left it." The monk sat with this. After a long silence, he asked, "How?" The teacher said, "The moment you decided that what you were feeling was special, different from ordinary experience, something to be held and something to protect and repeat, in that moment, you created a boundary between yourself and it." Spanda does not live in special moments. It is the aliveness present in every moment, including the flat ones, the contracted ones, the ones you have spent years trying to move past. The monk was silent for a very long time. Then he said, "So the searching itself was the distance?" The teacher smiled. "Now, let us try something together right now in this moment. Close your eyes if that feels natural, or simply soften your gaze. Feel the body sitting. Feel the breath moving in and out without controlling it. And instead of watching the breath or watching thoughts, ask one very quiet question. What is it that makes this moment feel alive? Do not answer, just notice. Not the breath, not the sensation, not the thoughts. Simply the undeniable fact that something is here before a thought appears. Something is already here before the next breath. Something is already alive before you call yourself me. Something is quietly present. That silent aliveness, always present, whether the mind is busy or still, is Spanda. You are not creating it through this practice. You are simply stopping the habit of looking past it. The way a person searches frantically for their glasses while wearing them. The aliveness was here before you looked for it. It will be here after this moment passes. The pulse never stopped. Only the attention to it came and went. Place your hands again on your pulse. Feel the beat. It was never just a heartbeat. Before a thought, before a name, before any experience arrived to fill this moment, something was already here, alive, pulsing, quietly. The sages gave this name, Spanda. Not because it moves, but because everything that moves arises from it.